Okay.
Hello, everyone. So today I am back with wonderful Ashala Yardley, and wearing pumpkin orange kind of, because tomorrow we have Thanksgiving, and I would like to, I know it's a controversial holiday now. Some people say we should not celebrate. So to those who celebrate, happy Thanksgiving. To those who don't, all is well. So Ashala.
Yes,
For
Anya.
today, thank you for coming back. For today, I was thinking what questions I may ask you that is relevant to the current situation and also to this Thanksgiving Day. So my first question is still, I'm not sure if I can use certain names, for example, the last name of Donald, or the famous day in November that starts with E. So I will be using those because I don't know the algorithm. But my first question is this. What Mr. T is the most grateful for this Thanksgiving that is happening behind the scenes, but we don't know? What he's the most thankful for, most grateful for?
Okay. Wow, very interesting question. Yes. Well, I mean, it's a bit of a character study right from the get-go here, in terms of he's thankful. I mean, he's got this work ethic and he just continues to hit the nail on the head, working away at things. So he likes to be busy. He likes to be working, and he's grateful that there's a lot to get done. I feel like the challenge of that is really inspiring. There's a lot of support I'm getting even interdimensional support. And also the first thing that I, when I just turned the cards over, the first thing that I saw was a lot of work being done in dream space. And I don't know about you, Anya, but I know I've personally had dreams about him. I know several.
I had several.
That have had dreams about him. I actually had a dream about him back in 2007 or something.
Can you tell us what was it?
Yeah, I can. It was very poignant, actually. He showed up in the home where I grew up as a child, and he was requesting if I would make him, I think it was 6 or 7, might have been 7 medicine bundles. He wanted me to create these medicine bundles for him. And
wow,
he asked for it, and I was just kind of there going, okay. I mean, had no clue. I was like, this is Donald Trump. Like, what does he need medicine bundles for, right? But I was kind of going, okay, that's interesting. And then he threw this wad of bills, like US dollar bills or US bills. They weren't dollar bills. They were $5 bills. And he threw this pile of $5 bills, and there was exactly 7 $5 bills, one for each of the bundles, right? I think it was 7 or 6 perhaps, but anyway. So when I woke up, I thought, well, that was really cheap of him to give me $5 for each of these bundles. But I feel like, as time went by and I saw the role that he moved into or was in all along, I realized that it was actually very symbolic. It was about creating alliances in dream time, where there's people, and I know other people that have dreamt about him, and he is actually saying, will you help me in this way? Or are you on my team? Or that kind of thing. And so I feel like that is
Ashala,
very grateful for. I feel like he's getting a lot of support that way.
Thank you for sharing this dream, but I'm actually thinking about the meaning of it now. And you know what came to me when you said 5? like the number 5, the Council of 5. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, well, and it was ironic then that I focused on, here's this person that has all this money and that's all they could afford to pay me for but then I understand as well that kind of spiritual work, you don't actually take any payment for. So it was really more of an offering or a gift, or maybe those bills were supposed to go into the bundles. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just fascinating to me. And there's a lot of strategic, pause, but strategy under the surface. This is the, Two of Swords is like the pause, but working on things behind the scenes.
But he's grateful for the progress.
For just having this body of work to be tucked into, he likes to work, basically. And he's grateful for the work because, personally or spiritually, I feel like this is pretty hard on him.
Yeah.
It's been a huge test.
Yeah.
And so he's grateful in a way for the distraction of the work is what I'm getting. And this is a big turning point. This is a big, all roads converging. And where it's going is the star, which is rising, return to being on the top somehow.
So
and yeah, kind of he likes also being the lone wolf. He's, even though, like I say, this is kind of a bigger interdimensionally, and in the dream state, there's a lot of alliance, but he's also quite happy to be doing things independently. So
wow. Well, that I have in common with him for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes too much, but so interestingly enough, this actually was already connected with my second question.
Oh, great.
Which is, and I have to grab a few tools, including my glasses, because before I will ask you, I have to explain what I mean by this. There is something, well, first of all, to those who don't know what SCOTUS means, SCOTUS is Supreme Court of the United States. So where I'm going with this is that just very recently, yesterday, there is something taking place across United States, which is called Join the Suit. And this is very important. This is actually what Tori, I mentioned her before, she's part of it. So is the Pillow Man, who is trying to, Mike Lindell, who is doing all this work and research and investigation and flying from states to states to really show what happened in November. Now, what this Join the Suit is, that's when you saw the star, I thought maybe this is actually what's about, because on November 20th, actually no, here, Operation Join the Suit presents all 50 state attorney general with a choice and a tremendous opportunity to protect natural rights and enshrined in the Constitution and sovereignty of each citizen of the Republic. And on November 23rd, which was yesterday, a lawsuit will be filed in the Supreme Court of the United States, asking the court to examine certain evidence in regard of we know what. So this is all across the United States. There is a list of attorneys generals in every state, and what's happening, Ashala, the people, like the people are actually making this change with this. They join this. So my question is, where is this going and how this will end?
Okay, so we've got some indicators here around personality types or developments. And just follow me here for a moment, because the work of shifting things is this King of Cups. It's deeply, deeply psychological. We're talking about, these are deep, deep psychological programs, patterns, beliefs, and also traumas. So the collective is in a really big soup right now. You know, there's a lot of deep feelings that people don't even know where they're coming from or why. We've got got conflicting different experiences, different values colliding with each other. You know, people, I feel, and this is when we go back to talking about 3D and 4D and 5D, is that people are swimming in that 4D, like there's so much emotionally coming to the surface, and it's really easy to get angry about things. It's really easy to polarize. It's really easy to point fingers, to gaslight, so on. And also, there's a great feeling of being, no matter where you are on the spectrum in this day and age, there's a feeling of betrayal, like we've been manipulated. Okay. So this
even, can I just say, even by those who we have trusted recently?
Absolutely. So our experience psychologically as humans, we've got to find our way out of this, because it's a real grown-up problem. You know, it's like we've somehow managed to get ourselves into such a pretzel knot. It feels impossible to sort it out with ideologies.
Yes.
So this is an invitation. So how we start, we have to go back to that personality archetype, like children. We've got 2 pages here, which are the pages, it's the suit of all the personality types. They're the children. It's the going back to a, you know, beginner's mind, like starting afresh, being kind of reborn in innocence, meaning we've got to choose something to believe in. We've got to trust something. We've got to put our like, go to the thing that is the most obvious and say, yes, I can get behind that. So this is an invitation to start from the basic, like rights and constitution, very, very basic. It's almost like children saying, oh, we've been betrayed and I don't know who to trust, and oh my gosh, this world is just going to, you know, where in a handbag, you know. And what do we, how do we begin to find our way out of that? We have to start with the obvious things, the values. Like in this case, the invitation to constitutional reinstatement, reformation, whatever that, however you want that to look. So that's been put out.
Yes.
And we're going to grab a hold of it. You see how this page, this is another page. You see how he grabs that wand with both hands?
Like, with
yeah, he's got it with both hands. Both hands. He's like grabbing it with both hands, meaning he's going to grab this.
He's got this.
He's going to use this invitation. And when I say he, I mean our collective psyche. We've got to, you know, there's no way to sort this out. We're deeply entrenched in a lot of confusion, a lot of experience that's legitimate of betrayal. And yet we've got to start with something that we can agree on to some degree and say, yes, let's
something
start with
that you cannot question because it has been established, and this is the law above every other law. The Constitution is above everything.
And not just that it is, because is it or isn't it? Like, how do we prove that, or how do we enforce that is a better question. It is, should that be? And people are saying, yes, that should be more important than these other things, right? So it's getting back to the invitation
to the values, to the values,
and it's the invitation to return to those values as the prime directive, even though we know that it's a lot more complicated
yes,
than that. You know, we're aware that we're in way over our heads, but we go back to basically the basics, the beginning, and say, yes. You know, it's almost like we have to be reborn
right,
in that constitutional way, like,
which is
like,
the case. It is.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
where
And
is
then
this going, Ashala? How this will go?
It's okay. So we are getting there, Anya. We're getting there, and it's going to keep getting brighter and brighter and brighter over the next 6 weeks, 6 months. Now, we've got to not, we've got to not polarize in our, like, again, remember what I said here. Don't try to put all your eggs in those baskets, like, to fix this. It's gonna take us a long time to fix this deeper psychological trauma of betrayal and misinformation. This is a big thing.
Mhm.
And when we start pulling the wool off of our eyes, we're going to see just how extensive it is. I mean, we do know, many of us have a sense or already done the research, but even more is going to be revealed, believe it or not. So, like, don't attach everything to
It's the focus,
this,
really, right? Because it's like it's too much, it distracts you. It's the focus. We need, like, that's how I see with the suit. Focus on what you can do right now.
Yes, and the things that we know, like, even our basic inner child knows this is good and this is bad. You know, it's the simplistic, almost like innocent perspective of what we know to be true.
Yeah.
But don't try to go too far into that, like, you know, with your mind. Don't get too far into making that about every truth. You know, we're following that person and we're following everything they're doing, or we're following that value system, we're going to follow it 100%. So it's almost like percentages, right? Like, children, literally, they change their minds, you know, they're follow whatever's going that's good from moment to moment. So we have to get really good at being in that place, adaptable, but the value is the thing that we can come back to again and again, that doesn't change. Those very basic values that everyone can agree on, those don't change. And that's what we're being invited to do. And we're being invited to show up on that spectrum in whatever way we can. So as you're saying, you know, these high officials are being invited. Yes. And those of them that take this invitation.
They took the oath to the Constitution, and if they don't honor it, they're out of the office. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and this is their opportunity to stand up in solidarity
with people.
Which is, again, there's another page. Like, even if they aren't in 100% agreement with 100% of what's going on, again, those percentages, like, you know, we've got to start somewhere. We've got to start with the things that are the most simple and obvious, because those are being eroded out from under us. And if we don't reclaim them, you know, it's interesting. The guides are actually showing me, because here in British Columbia, we're having incredible weather, as I'm sure you've all heard, and the erosion of a lot of the way things have been handled here in the last several decades with our logging industry and stuff, and soil erosion and droughts and on and on and on. And now we've got flooding, and there's basically the ground eroding underneath our roads, sinkholes, you know, like train tracks being washed away and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, you know, if we're not attending to, and I feel like the trees, in a way, are the things that hold the soil together, you know. If we're not attending, I see the trees like the values. If we're not attending to grounding these values, everything gets eroded out from under us. So it's a metaphor. It's like these values, the constitutional values, those are our roots. Those are our, that's the roots
Yes. Yes.
of the country. And if you cut all that away, we have nothing to stand on. Everything else is just going to start to erode.
Well, it's anarchy or dictatorship.
Yes, exactly. Which is another form of anarchy.
Yes, what's true. Yes.
Yeah.
So now, do you see like timeline for this this lawsuit situation with the SCOTUS? Because I think there will be a lot of changes with those people who hold certain positions, right? Like those attorneys generals.
So what I'm getting is we're going to see enough.
Oh, enough.
Enough. What I almost get is like a 10% thing. And we need to not be just to begin with, like right away, meaning 10% jumping into that.
That's actually a pretty good start.
Yeah. And then, so that is going to be like the beginning of the process. Then it's going to get a lot of airtime around the world.
Okay.
The world is going to be watching. And there's going to be a lot of energy drummed up in other parts of the world. Like the world is watching the United States over the next couple of months. Big time.
Big time.
And so, you know, this is even a 10% is going to be like a kind of landslide in a way, because that's it's going to ricochet out into the world, drum up a lot of energy.
The momentum, right? Ashala creates the momentum, the energy.
And then as that momentum builds, more and more are going to jump on.
Great.
So I get it's going to start even right away with about 10%, and then over, you know, 8 or 10 weeks over the next couple of months, it's going to keep building energy.
Great. Okay, thank you. So my last question again is kind of connected with this too. It's like, cool. So my last question is, okay, we have Thanksgiving in 2022. What our Thanksgiving looks like and where are we standing with all of this?
Ooh, now you know timelines are tricky, especially these days. We have to.
So one option, like the one that comes out.
You know, I'm actually getting. It's interesting. We're talking about timelines and options because I'm getting 3 different options, but I'm getting the kind of. It's almost like. I don't want to say left and right, no more of that, but you know, it's like version 1, version 2, and then the strongest one is in the middle, sort of version 3, which is perhaps a bit of a hybrid or something. But yeah, it's obviously going to depend on how we each show up between now and then. But generally speaking, oh, interesting. So those 2 cards, the 3 of Swords and that King of Cups that I was talking about with the, you know, that feeling of betrayal.
Yeah.
The betrayal is in the past.
Great.
We've made a new foundation.
Okay.
We've created a new foundation that's stable.
Okay.
New stability.
Great. It's
okay.
Like back to the roots. We have roots.
Yep. Okay. We've got roots. We've got back to a stable foundation. And there's growth. So what this means, I'm not exactly sure, but it could be economic growth. It could be, just like people feeling like they can get on board with their lives again and start building their dreams again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's kind of exciting. I love when people ask questions like this. Yeah, so we're still looking at, I feel like the betrayal is way out in the open, a lot more disclosure. I mean, we've been talking about this for a year, but it's by a year from now, so much more will be, you know, emerged.
Yeah, you know, like
surface.
Tori says, and I really, really appreciate her. She always says, just wait, they will all pull their pants down. They're gonna pull their pants down.
Yeah, something like that. And I do see, you know, the big boys club is still, you know, it's almost like I get a sense of a new solidarity. We've got to be aware, we've got to be wary of how much power we give to centralized power systems, because what I'm getting is that we're still in this, I don't know exactly what this is about, but we are still in this energetic power grab, meaning that even good people, as this shifts, even good people who right now are on the right side, when they, if we give too much power to centralized authority, they're potentially going to stand to be corrupted, and we could see a repeat of some aspects of what we've gone through in the past. So we've got to continue to be really vigilant of holding people accountable, transparency, and not, because it's almost like I'm like, oh, there's a new old boys club. It's not the same old boys club, it's the new old boys club, which is
so
susceptible to the same.
Right. You know what this made me, I had this image. So this to me, from what I understand, because when you were saying this, I had this image that it will be pretty much, we have to replace those who are in positions with regular people who sincerely care. And I'm not talking like, okay, I know there is a lawyer and this and that. I'm talking, there are many, many positions in those governmental organizations, whatever it is, that, like you said, it's another person shows up and enters it, but it's just, it starts with goodness. It's the same like in all those like YouTube communities, all of this. Yeah, and then
it's based on, totally, Anya, yes. And it's based on numbers. It's actually a formula. When I was studying intentional communities, when I was in university, we were talking about these formulas where, like in indigenous cultures all over the world that were egalitarian, that were nature-based, you know, they never built up this kind of power, authority, dominance. We can say, oh, they weren't civilized, but I don't agree with that. I think that they had a different type of civilization. So, you know, we're going to be integrating technology in these upcoming decades in new ways, in new and meaningful ways, but we're still not out of the woods with this whole power grab about basically the numbers. When you get too many people being controlled by a big majority being controlled by a small minority, you're going to get corruption.
By the Wizard of Oz. Wizard of Oz is controlling, yes.
So it's basically, we've got to look at decentralizing power, finance, decentralizing government, decentralizing, you know, military, and like basically redistributing power and resources and definitely wealth. And that's going to be a longer job. So we can get back to the rights, having our rights, our freedoms, our privacy, but this is a much bigger piece of work that's going to take longer, because be careful about just giving power to the next group, because we've got to restructure. We've got to decentralize this a bit, or it's just too top heavy, or you know, top heavy in terms of the power is structured like that. And so many of us are you know, under that authority system. So it's like, what does that look like? It looks like really strengthening regional governments, local governments, strengthening local currency, strengthening, you know,
our own individual households.
Yes. Yeah.
So this looks to me like in a year from now, our Thanksgiving, we have a lot of relief. We are grateful for big progress, but
Yes.
and we already know, like, there are certain things that we are certain about, certain things that we are certain. There are certain things we know for sure, but at the same time, the new people who came forward, they actually have to be questioned also.
Yes. Well, we've got to keep, not only question and keep an eye on them. See, this is where it gets like we're back into feeling suspicious and betrayed. So really, it's about changing the structure of these governing systems so that they're not it's not as centralized. The power is not as centralized. The currencies power are not as centralized. So getting these big corporations out of the power controlling roles and redistributing. And that's going to be a big project. That's a big project. That's not something that's going to happen in a year. But I think there's going to be a realization that that's what's needed. And we're going to be doing that work. We're going to be on the way of that work. So
thank you, Ashala. Thank you for today.
You're very welcome, Anya.
So if anyone would like to connect with Ashala one-on-one, the link will be below. You can reach out to Ashala. And every Sunday, Ashala puts out a great video on her channel, which gives you the read of the coming week. So it's really good for you to follow every Sunday. And yes, until next time, thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it.
I just want to say, Anya, as well, that starting tomorrow, actually, the 25th of November to the 25th of December, I've got a 25% off sale. It's my Thanksgiving and heading into the holidays of celebration sale. So 25% off all of my readings.
Wonderful.
So yeah.
So when people contact you, you already will honor this, and that's great. Perfect.
Yes, we can put a link below to where people can put that coupon in to receive the discount.
Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And also, if you're interested, I do different readings. I do intuitive. And actually, I enjoy them because I come across very special people and I feel connection with them too. So if you're interested with me, the link is below. Join my mailing list. And until next time, lots of love, everyone, and keep on going. All is well.
Be well, everybody. Bye now.